Game 1, best of 7. Cavs right now in complete control, and they have stunned this Garden crowd. The Brunson burner has been lit.
The run has arrived in the form of Jalen Brunson.
We go to overtime. One of the greatest comebacks in NBA playoff history. Down 22 with 7.5 to go. Knicks take Game 1 behind the brilliance of Jalen Brunson.
They are still buzzing on what we saw less than 48 hours ago here at MSG. Ridiculous comeback by Mikal Bridges, Jalen Brunson and company, as Bridges had 18 points of that Game 1 victory, down 22 points with under 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and they somehow pulled off a victory as we are 90 minutes away from Game 2, Knicks and Cavs. Knicks are up 1-0, and they're seeking their first NBA Finals appearance since 1999. There are 9 players on this Knicks roster who weren't even born yet the last time they made the finals. The leader of that 99 Knicks squad is joining us, and that is the Hall of Famer, Patrick Ewing, a Knick legend, no doubt about it. Thank you for joining us here, Patrick.
My pleasure.
And when I bring up 1999, and I'm sorry to bring up that there are 9 players that weren't even alive when you were on this court in 1999. Jalen Brunson, you played with Rick on that 99 team, his dad. How would you describe Jalen Brunson, what you've seen in this postseason, especially 2 nights ago?
Well, you know, Jalen is a special player. You know, I tell his dad all the time, I'm not sure what you did or what the secret sauce was, but whatever you did a great job of it. Both he and his mom have done an outstanding job with that kid. He's a hard worker. He's a great player. And the other night, he put on his cape and took the team over. And as a former Knick, and somebody who's I've known him from he was a little guy walking in our locker room, running around the lockers. It meant a lot. You know, it was very special to us.
You mentioned special. That 99 team means a lot to this city. What similarities do you see from that team that made it to the finals and this team right now?
Right. I just think that everybody's together. The togetherness, the different things that the coaches have done to tweak the game, especially the first game, Shaman, inserting him into the lineup, and he did an outstanding job of not only offensively but defensively. I think his defense was much better for us than his offense.
What's this place like when you play here and it's playoff basketball and you are winning games? What's it like on the floor and you're the star?
It's remarkable. You know, playing in New York is the Mecca.
Yep.
The Mecca. And last year when I was here, I'm sitting down that end with Larry Johnson, John Starks, who's been going crazy on the floor. We're all sitting down there, and I'm looking around the stands.
Yeah.
And you know, Larry said to me, "Reminds you of back when we were playing, doesn't it?" And I said, "Yes, it sure does." Just, I think the city has been waiting for this type of opportunity, and I think that not only Rick, Jalen, but the entire team has definitely have been doing what they need to do for the city to support the team.
Hey, listen, if you watch this whole crowd, it's a great environment. You can't sit down, but for you personally, sometimes you have trouble watching the game because you're sitting next to Starks. What's that like when Starks is losing his mind?
It's rough. It's rough. So, you know, I'm trying to be cool. I'm just trying to watch it. I'm trying to he and Steph, they're always jumping up, right. They're always jumping up. I'm like, John, I'm trying to watch the game. He almost got into one of the players. I said, dude, you're gonna get us kicked out of this arena. But I think his passion, the passion that he shows supporting the team, is the same passion that he had when we were playing. So, you know, I love it.
Yeah, and Marbury actually issued an apology yesterday to Knicks fans for getting on the court, trying to dab up Jalen after he hit one of those big shots, as Jalen Brunson's working on some jumpers right behind us. Okay, I don't want to look too far ahead, but it's hard not to. They've won 9 straight playoff games. They are 7 wins away from the first championship since 1973. What would a Knicks NBA title mean to this city?
A title for this city would be so much. I can remember when we got there in 99, but also in 94.
Yeah.
Had opportunities to get a championship. The Rangers was able to get it done, but we fell short in Game 7. But I think that being able to bring back a championship to the city, I think the city would be on fire. You see how the way that everybody has been acting, and it's not even the champion. We haven't even got to the championship yet. So I think that all of the pent-up energy that we've been, as Knicks fans, have been facing, this is just going to let loose.
What do you expect to see from these guys tonight? We got Bridges shooting right behind us. You got Brunson right there. You got a Cavs team that's hurting and shell-shocked. What do you expect to see tonight?
Well, I think the Cavs are going to come out with a lot of energy, a lot of effort. I think that the Knicks have to do their part. You know, temper. You know, play with a lot of tempo, weather whatever storm that the Cavs are going to come with, and just continue to do what they did the last game.
We got the legend, that is Patrick Ewing, breaking it down. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
Hey, I hope John does not get in your way when you can watch this game tonight.
Well, this time I'm going to pull him down.
That's what a big man does. He protects his point guard.
That's right.
Of course, as we get you ready, countdown to the tip-off here on ESPN, the Eastern Conference Finals, Game 2, and Donovan Mitchell looking to rebound after what we saw really sluggish in the fourth quarter as that offense just was silent. Right now, we're getting you ready. Live Sports Center from MSG. Christine, back to you.
Go Knicks.
Over the Cavaliers, and a big reason why is Jalen Brunson, who was absolutely brilliant. How about 24 of his 38 points coming in the second half, and overtime he's locked in, and Cat looking smooth, all business and all ready to go as the Knicks are up 1-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals. Kevin Nagani courtside here, and the Hall of Famer Michael Wilbon is standing by. Christine, we cannot wait to talk about this game and how the Cavs try to get back into this series after a devastating collapse.
I can't wait for it either. We're also going to talk a little NFL action, but we're going to start with hoops, Kev, out there at MSG.
And let's talk about what the Cavs did and what they didn't do, and that was play offense or defense in the final 7:40 when they had a 22-point lead in the fourth quarter. They were outscored 44-11 the rest of the way, and the Knicks, they went on a 14-3 run in overtime, second largest fourth quarter comeback in the postseason over the last 30 seasons. And as promised, that is the Hall of Famer Michael Wilbon joining us now. And let's talk about Jalen Brunson because, again, 38 points. He was brilliant in the second half when they needed him the most, finding the isolations, looking for James Harden, and then delivering on that shot. How do you top that, especially what he's done so far during this postseason?
You know what, Kevin, we've gotten to the point now where we think there are encores all the time for Jalen Brunson. Look, I've been following him as the Chicago native, and Jalen's from Chicago. Watching him in high school and in Villanova, he goes and wins a championship. He comes into the league as a second-round draft pick. His foundation is called second round. So if you think he doesn't have a chip on his shoulder about that even now. So he comes in the league, he proves himself with Dallas, but nobody thinks he's going to wind up being anything more than a rotation player, maybe a starter, maybe he makes an all-star team, and instead he winds up being one of the most clutch players of now this generation. A guy who's capable at 6'1", of leading a team to the NBA Finals, and it's work. He always says the magic is in the work. That's his mantra, and he means it. I mean, look, every player in this league is familiar with work, but Jalen's is obsessive. If you're supposed to make 1,000 jump shots in practice, he's going to make 2,000. That's how he's made himself self-made. Largely. There's some talent there. Yes, he grew up in the game. His father, Rick's a longtime assistant and played in the league himself. But he made himself this guy. And the Knicks, I don't even know if the Knicks knew what they were getting when they got him, but they're certainly grateful they have him.
They got a guy who's not afraid of the moment, averaging 26 points in this postseason, by the way. Okay, you have covered many series.
Maybe too many.
In your career. You have seen collapses before. But what we saw 2 nights ago on this floor, up by 22 points with 7:40 to go, how do the Cavs recover, not so much just for the series, but for tonight?
Kevin, they have, first of all, the psychological work that had to go on, you know, in the 48 hours since. We've heard a lot of conversation about what was said about James Harden and to James Harden by the head coach and the full staff. But look, they've got something to recover from that's very difficult because they're not at home doing this. They're on the road. It was a complete and utter collapse, historic in terms of There's never been one like it in terms of the way that play-by-play era is measured since 1970. So, to me, they've got to come out and get into this game immediately, and certain people have to be in it, and Donovan Mitchell has to be chief among them. Late in the game, he was so strangely inactive, just sort of walking up the right side of the floor while James Harden dribbled up the left side of the floor, that a lot of us thought he was injured, right? He wasn't. Apparently, we have heard nothing about that since. Donovan Mitchell's a guy who can put up 50 in playoff games. We've seen him do it. So guess what? I'm not saying he needs to have 50, but he's got to be active and involved. And speaking of Jalen Brunson, they have to hunt Jalen Brunson a bit. That has happened. We've seen that. Atlanta had a little bit of success with that early in the playoffs. So the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to have to perhaps borrow a page from that. And Donovan Mitchell would seem to be the guy who has to be on the long end of it.
Okay, let's continue the conversation. Let's talk about the Western Conference Finals and what we saw last night. The Thunder, they even up the series. Game 3 goes to San Antonio tomorrow night. Victor Wembanyama held. I'm just going to say held
to 21 and
17. What do you expect to see from him? Because we saw the physicality come out from the Thunder, a completely different game plan with Hartenstein up against Wembanyama in Game 2.
You know, Victor Wembanyama is so charismatic, right? And he seems like such a gentle soul when he's at the microphone, and he's, eloquent a lot of the times. And it doesn't reveal this other thing that everybody now knows he has, who's close to the game, and that is like almost a vengeful streak in him. I mean, there's something that is Bird and Jordan-like, and Isaiah Thomas,
Kobe,
and Kobe,
yes,
the great players of previous generations. He's got that, and I think that he's angry and he's worked himself into some sort of lather, or will have by tomorrow night, and we're going to see a guy. And I don't want to get into statistical predictions. We're going to see somebody who's going to have a profound impact on the game. Also, what's going to have an impact is the officials are not going to be calling tomorrow night's game like they called last night's game. Hartenstein is not going to be able to just bump and grind all the way down the floor, hold, grab. He did what he should do. He did what he can do on his home floor. We know that officiating travels as the series does.
Yes, it does.
And so if he plays with that same physicality tomorrow night, he'll have 3 fouls in the first 2 minutes. That's not going to happen.
Message will be sent.
Yeah, Victor Wembanyama, I would, if there's an over-under on his free throws, I'd say about 12 or so. But I think that, seriously, I think we're going to see somebody who's in just sort of full activation mode tomorrow night against OKC. As people say, well, who's got control of the series? Well, nobody right now.
Nobody.
But that's what tomorrow night Game 3 is for.
And you know what? It could be attrition, too. That could be the storyline because of Dylan Harper and the unknown status of Jalen Williams, both key guys. So more pressure on Shai Gilgeous, who had 30 points, and Wembanyama heading into Game 3, of course, that is in San Antonio. The great Michael Wilbon, thank you so much joining us.
Kevin, thank you.
Landry Shamet, hey, you never know when your name's called, so you got to get your shots
That's
in.
his spot.
Yes. And maybe he's going to have the Garden bounce like we saw late in that Game 1. He was fantastic. 3 for 3 from three-point range. A big reason why the Knicks are up 1-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals. Much more. SportsCenter on the road, live from MSG. After this, back to you, Christine.